Okay, so you want to buy a road. Here's the strange part. In 1990, the state of California signed a contract with a private company, and in it, the government agreed to something remarkable. It agreed not to fix the traffic. For years afterwards, a public freeway in Orange County got more and more congested, and the state was legally forbidden from widening it because the private toll lanes running down the middle of that freeway were worth more when the free lanes were worse. It cost $207 million to buy that one clause back. That clause, not the asphalt, not even the tolls, is the real product in this business. And yet, in 2014, the operators of the largest privatized highway in American history filed for bankruptcy, 8 years into a 75-year lease. And nothing was wrong with the road. By the end of this video, you'll know what a road actually sells for, where the money really comes from, and why the most valuable sentence in a toll road contract is a promise about a road that doesn't exist. Let's start with the price. There are 3 tiers, and you can buy into all of them. The small door, a single bridge. The Ambassador Bridge connects Detroit, Michigan to Windsor, Ontario. It is the busiest international border crossing in North America, carrying more than a quarter of all merchandise trade between the United States and Canada by value. It is owned by one family. A Detroit trucking magnate named Matty Moran bought it in 1979. He already owned a large trucking company, so he bought the bridge his own trucks drove across. In 2009, the government of Canada reportedly offered him around $2 billion for it. He asked for $3 billion plus incentives. The talks collapsed. His family owns it to this day. The middle door, a stretch of urban highway, the Chicago Skyway, 7.8 miles of elevated road on the south side of the city. In 2005, Chicago leased it to a consortium led by the Spanish firm Sintra and the Australian bank Macquarie. The price, $1.83 billion for 99 years. And the big door. In 2006, that same consortium paid the state of Indiana $3.8 billion for a 75-year lease on the Indiana Toll Road, 157 miles, the largest highway privatization in American history. And the market has not slowed down. In Georgia, a private consortium recently agreed to pay the state an upfront concession fee of $3.8 billion, just for the right to build and toll a set of express lanes. But notice something about all of those. Nobody sold anybody a road. You do not buy a highway. You cannot. What you buy is a concession, a contract, granted by a government giving you the right to collect money from a piece of public infrastructure for a fixed number of decades. At the end of the 99 years, you hand it back. You never own the road. You rent the right to stand at the gate. So, where does the money come from? The toll. Obviously. But watch what actually happens when you pull that lever. When Sintra and Macquarie took over the Chicago Skyway, they did the thing everybody was afraid they would do. They raised the tolls, 80% for passenger cars, and as much as 201%, triple, for large trucks. And traffic fell. Average daily traffic dropped from about 48,000 vehicles in 2005 to about 41,000 by 2013, a decline of roughly 17%. And revenue went up anyway. Toll collections rose from $50.4 million in 2005 to $80.7 million by 2014. They lost 17% of their customers and made about 60% more money. That is what economists call inelastic demand. In plain English, the people on that road do not have a real alternative, and a customer with no alternative is the most profitable customer that exists. Which brings us back to that clause, because now you can see why it's worth $200 million. 1990, California awards a private consortium a franchise to build express toll lanes in the median of State Route 91 in Orange County, one of the most congested freeways in the state. The consortium takes the plan to the bond market to raise the money, and the bond market takes one look and balks. You want to build a toll road, they say, directly alongside a free road? What happens the day the state widens the free lanes and takes all your customers away? It's a fair question, and there's only one answer that satisfies a lender. So the state agreed. The California Department of Transportation contractually promised that it would not add capacity to the free lanes running right beside the toll lane. The government signed a document agreeing not to fix the traffic, and then, of course, the traffic got worse. Congestion on the free lanes grew. year after year, and the state was legally barred from doing anything about it. Think about the incentive that creates. Every hour of delay on that free road made the toll lanes more valuable. The worse the public road performed, the more the private lanes were worth. The only way out was to buy the contract back. In 2003, the Orange County Transportation Authority purchased the franchise outright for $207.5 million for the specific purpose of escaping that clause. And the moment they did, the state added a fifth free lane in each direction. Those lanes had always been buildable. They had simply been forbidden. So understand what you're really buying here. It was never the asphalt. Asphalt is a cost. Asphalt is the thing you have to maintain. What you're buying is the absence of an alternative. Now, that clause was too naked to survive. Texas outlawed true non-competes in 2007. No agreement can forbid a state from building a road, but the clause didn't disappear. It just got a price tag. The second generation of these provisions doesn't ban the competing road. It makes the state pay you for it. If the government builds a highway within a few miles of your toll road that wasn't in its long-range plan, it compensates you for the revenue you lose. So the government is still on the hook. It just settles in cash instead of in traffic. Now let's talk about how this business actually failed, because it fails in a very specific, very unusual way. 2006. Fresh off the Skyway deal, Centra and Macquarie pay Indiana $3.8 billion for that 75-year lease. The whole thing rests on a forecast, a model that says traffic on the Indiana toll road will grow at a certain rate for 75 years. Then comes 2008. Then a decade of freight and travel patterns that simply do not do what the spreadsheet said they would. Traffic did not grow the way the model promised. In September of 2014, 8 years in, with 67 years still left on the lease, the operator filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And I want you to sit with what did and did not go wrong here. The road was in better condition than when they took it over. The tolling systems worked. The staff did their jobs. Not one physical thing failed. What failed was a number in a model, a traffic forecast made in 2006 about the year 2040. And then comes the part that tells you what this business really is. In 2015, an Australian pension fund manager, IFM Investors, bought the remaining 66 years of that exact same concession for $5.7 billion, $5.7 billion for the leftovers of a bankruptcy, more than the original buyers paid for a shorter lease. The asset was never the problem. The price was. And there's one more thing that can kill you. The thing the whole model exists to prevent. Someone builds the alternative anyway. Go back to the Ambassador Bridge. For nearly a century, a single family held a private choke point on a quarter of America's trade with Canada. They could price it however they liked because there was nowhere else to go. Then Canada built a second bridge, the Gordie Howe International Bridge, publicly owned, downriver. And effective April of 2026, the Ambassador Bridge cut its prepaid passenger toll from $10 to $5.50. Nearly a century of pricing power, and the day a second bridge appeared on the horizon, the price fell by almost half. That is this entire business, in one number. So, how much do you actually make? Here's where the toll road breaks the rules of every other business like it, because there is no 7-year payback here. There isn't even a 20-year payback. Take the Skyway, $1.83 billion paid up front in 2005. Toll revenue in 2014, about $80 million. Even if you kept every single dollar of that, no maintenance, no staff, no insurance, no interest on the debt you borrowed to buy it, you would need more than 20 years just to get your money back. And you have enormous debt on the deal. So why on earth would anybody do this? Because you are not buying a business. You are buying an annuity, 99 years long, with contractual annual toll increases built in, on a customer base that physically cannot leave. Pension funds and sovereign wealth funds don't want a fast payback. They want a payment that arrives reliably in the year 2080. There's almost nothing else on earth that does that. The good scenario. Traffic grows a little. Tolls rise every year, automatically per the contract. Over 40, 50, 90 years, the compounding does all the work. And when the Skyway Consortium put their stake up for sale, they got a price above what they had paid. The bad scenario is Indiana. You paid for growth that never came. Your debt is fixed. Your maintenance is fixed. The road is 157 miles long, whether 10,000 cars use it Or 40,000, and you cannot sell half a highway. So can owning a road make you rich? Yes, over decades, if your forecast was right. But understand what you actually bought. You didn't buy asphalt. Asphalt is a liability with a surface on it. You bought a choke point and a promise from a government that for the next several decades, the easy way around will not exist. Every toll road on Earth is really selling the same thing. And it isn't the road you're driving on, it's the road that isn't there.